Well, good morning, everybody. This is Pastor Randy Scott from Iron Faith Fellowship Church with our morning tidbits. I want to talk to you something that's fresh on our minds right now. I know people are getting tired of hearing about this virus and getting tired, period. But you know what? I look at this as a storm in our life. Storms come right when we need something done with our faith. Believe it or not, there's no mistake that these things happen. We don't always understand the reasoning behind it. Just like now, no one has all the proper numbers and credentials, and things are being done and upsetting people. But this is not a time for us to give in and give up. This is a time to see right where we're at in our relationship with our Lord. And storms come, sometimes unexpected. Uh, Even the weathermen miss weather predictions, and we'll get hit with a thunderstorm and lightning and different things like, man, where did that come from? And sometimes it catches us by surprise. That's how life goes. It's sad to say or tough to say sometimes, but if we look at it and utilize it to help us uh, take a look at where we are in our faith, that's where the benefit comes in. The disciples weren't always on the top of their game when it came to faith. Things happened. A number of times they crossed the Sea of Galilee, and that's where Jesus spent much of his ministry. And, he sent them out by themselves. And one time he sent them out. I'm going to read the Luke's version of this in chapter 8. And I just think it's interesting what happens here. Chapter 8 of Luke, starting in verse 22. Now it happened on a certain day that he got into a boat with the disciples, and he said to them, let us cross over to the other side of the lake. Seems like a simple plan. Seems like a jumping in the boat and cruising across. And it says they launched out, verse 23. But as they sailed, he fell asleep, and a windstorm came up on the lake, and they were filling with water and were in jeopardy. Now again, if anybody's been out on the water, especially during a storm, it can get tedious. It can get scary. I'm going to tell you. I actually was out on a sailboat one time when a tornado came and hit the Chesapeake. And I'll tell you, it's a helpless feeling when you're out in the middle and you can't get back to shore very fast, and all you can do is drop anchor and ride it out. You're either going to cry out to God or hang on for life and be fearful. And they did the same thing. The storm came up, and it said they came to him in verse 24 and woke him, saying, Master, Master, we are perishing. Then he arose and rebuked the wind and the raging water, and they ceased, and there was a calm. But he said to them, where is your faith? And they were afraid, marveled each to one another, said, who can this be? He even commands the winds and the water, and they obey him. It doesn't mean that we don't go through questionable times. It doesn't mean when the storm comes that we're not going to experience some fear, but it's at that point in time, it all depends on who we cry out to. We look to our own resources, or we look to the Lord. They immediately went to the Lord and said, we are perishing. We are perishing. And he took care of the problem. He did. He took care of the problem. And then he mentioned their faith. And our life as believers is based on what type of faith we have, how strong our faith is, how weak our faith is. And that's where our trust comes in, all depending on where our faith is at. Storms are going to come, folks. Announced, unannounced, they're going to hit us unexpected. That doesn't mean Jesus is not there. Jesus is not attentive. That is a time, as hard as it may be, that we sit down and say, Lord, I'm perishing. Things are happening. Life is crushing in around me. I just can't deal with this storm. You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed how you get through that thing. So folks, don't always look into the eyes of the storm. When the storm comes, look into the eyes of Jesus, knowing that he is your comfort, your stay. And when the storms come, when the storms of life seem to come, they come right when your faith needs building. Think about that. I hope you all have a blessed day. Here in Wilmington, Delaware, the sun is shining out. This is the day the Lord has made. Folks, I'm excited. I love doing this. This is still new for me, but I love doing this. If it can bring a little bit of hope, a smile on your face, a bit of encouragement, man, it's worth it all to me. Love you guys. Be blessed. We will see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. with Morning Tidbits from Pastor Randy Scott. Have an awesome, awesome day. See Jesus in the storms.